Hi, I'm Saint Arcturus, and in this video I am analyzing a game of Mottainai as I play. So I'm not going to have any extra information, and hopefully it'll help me avoid outcome bias. So very first move, I see two possible plays. The first and most obvious is play this monk, grab the Smith Helper, call it a day. There are some downsides to that. My opponent could easily drop a metal card, because it's the first turn and they haven't revealed their hidden card yet, their first task. And we're basically at square one, so it's not a huge downside. There are also some decent combos. If he has another monk, he can, with my monk task, he can pick up this monk that's on the floor, and with his monk task, he can grab two helpers and clean up the floor, or grab a second one and pray. He could also potentially grab this clay helper, play a clay task, and pick up this stone, and maybe he drops a cloth, and then he's all set up to craft. So there are some downsides, but then again, he may just drop a clay, and he may not have a monk in hand to take advantage. So it has high ceiling, I think, move for grabbing a Smith Helper if he can't get one, but also a low floor because it may actually could be a negative if he pulls off a really good combo, or just if he is able to get a Smith Helper, then I'm just sort of back at square one. The other possible move I'm seeing is play this tailor, return this metal, and then assume or almost hope that he has a stone, or sorry, a monk task that he can play to take this Smith Helper. And if he does, then I will on my next turn take this Potter card that's on the floor as a helper with his monk task, and then play brick here as my task, and take this stone that's on the floor and the cloth that will be on the floor on my next turn, and sort of set myself up for a crafting heavy strategy. I think if I did not have Poem and I had a better stone card here, that was not the best. If I had Frog or Kite or something that you can really build a strategy around, maybe I would go for that. I think it's probably has a lower ceiling, but maybe is a little bit safer, because there's no big combos that I could see him pulling off with that. It kind of puts the onus on him. But I'm going to go ahead and go with the tried and true grab a Smith Helper. This is a tournament game, and I'm maybe playing a little more cautiously than I would otherwise, which I guess this isn't cautious, but it's what I'm more familiar with, even though it is actually slightly riskier. But I think overall the odds are good for it. So I'm going to hit finish turn here and see what I get. Or sorry, what he drops. Okay, he drops a clerk task. So that's pretty good. My fear here is now that he would have another monk in hand. That wouldn't be great for me. But other than that, I'm not seeing much that he could do. So if he has another monk, he can kind of clean up the floor. I will get a monk helper because I'll drop my task on the floor. But that's not a huge deal. He's not going to, for instance, be able to get a cloth material in his bench right away, which is good for me because if there was one cloth, he would be able to snag it and I wouldn't be able to get one. But here, if he does play a clay, whether or not he takes the helper, all he can pick up is stone, and I'll drop a stone, and I could pick up a stone with his clay task on my turn. So I'm not too worried about what he can do now that that's been revealed as a clerk. But again, it's a bit of a gamble. It's just what I'm most familiar with. So that's the line I'm taking, even though I almost wanted to take the other line. It felt a little more satisfying. It's a little clever. It's not the obvious move. Okay, so here on turn 2, he took using my monk task, he snagged a Potter helper, and then he played a Potter. He took a monk, and then he prayed. Fortunately, I had my monk task that was discarded at the start of my turn, so I'm going to pick that up with his clay card. On my end, I don't see a point in playing this Smith, or especially because he's got that helper, this clay. I also want to get more material out onto the floor as soon as possible so that when he plays another clay, I've got something to pick up, and he's not denying me. So the best way to accomplish both those things is to tailor. And I'm going to go ahead and return, I'm going to snag that, and then I'm going to return brick and flute. And we'll see what I get here. Finish turn. Okay, nice. So I've got 2 more cloth, which robes, not my favorite. Mask is very good though. You know, if he does play a clay right now, a potter right now, and picks up this one, I'd be a little nervous because there's a lot of very powerful clay cards still out. Vase is really good. Jar is always scary. So teapot is gone. He must have he played teapot to snag that. So I'm honestly guessing that he did not have another clay. He doesn't have another clay in hand unless he drew one right here. When he prayed, he may have drawn one. But if he had any other potter card, I think he would have played it. Maybe not any other. Maybe he has vase or something. But if he had, let's see here, if he had bowl, if he had cup, figurine, if he had dice, I feel like he would have played all of those first. So he might have Hanoa, he might have vase. Maybe he would hang on to jar, but just reduces the odds that he has more potter in his hand because more clay cards in his hand, because he would have played a different one if he had the option to. So let me stop the replay here. It's possible he has one. If so, if I were him, I think I wouldn't play it right now. I would wait until my potter dropped. In fact, on the last turn, if I were him here, I might have waited. So it's right here. I might have grabbed that clay helper and just waited so that he could play. Oh yeah, so he dropped that clerk task. So right now, if he waits, he just takes this potter helper, waits until my turn. If I just pass here, then the stone gets discarded. He can play that same clay card, grab 2 stone, and then I will beat it at any. Now, I may not pass, but it still puts him in the same place, because if he either gets both of them, or he gets one and then one of something else and I get one. So it works out the same either way. That little bit of patience, I think that I probably would have waited, just to try and see if I could lure my opponent into praying, play that, grab 2, and then because here when we end my turn, we both have that. So we're pretty symmetrical. I've got an extra smith, he's got an extra potter, we both have stone. So he's done something a little bit unexpected here. He played a monk. He grabbed a second clay helper. Or potter helper, sorry. I'm going to get those mixed up all the time. Interesting, because typically if I've got a potter helper, there's so few clay cards, only 10. Any that are on the floor, I want in my craft bench. 2 potter helpers isn't that much better than 1. The only thing I can think of is if he just wants to completely clean up the floor so that he can just, play a task on the next turn, play a potter helper to snag that task off the floor, and then, pray once or twice, and leave me with nothing. I'm wondering if maybe that's his game here. So I'm definitely going to take this clerk helper with his potter action. The question is, what task, if any, do I play? I'm leaning towards playing a clerk so that I can get more stuff out on the floor. The tricky thing is, though, that he's got 3. If he plays a potter, he's going to have 3 actions. He can take 3 things. So right now, when it gets... Oh, yes, I always forget that. But my task will still be in my hand. So right now, if he plays one, he'll get the stone that's his current task. He'll get this tailor that's here, and then I will be able to pick up my tailor. So I basically just need to keep playing tailors to keep stuff on the floor so that I can keep benefiting from his tasks. I returned, so I played that. I'm returning, I'm keeping these two because I have a helper now, or I'm about to have a paper helper, so that'll be super helpful. I don't want to play one right now because I like both of these. Curtain's really good. I could possibly smith right now, but I don't want to do that because Frog is still out there. So even if I smith and I play curtain, he might be able to craft Frog. And then, maybe draw a smith on his next turn, get another smith action. It's still not, it's not ideal. And I don't want to play one of the papers to craft the other one because I want Poem. I want to return Poem, but if I do that, I won't get the helpers, and I don't want to waste curtain either. So I'm kind of hoping I draw another one. And I don't think I'm going to need this smith. Right. The only reason I would hang on to a smith right now is if I didn't know where curtain was. Even then, I probably wouldn't hang on to it. But that's, on a whim I might do that, or if I knew he had curtain. But right now, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to keep mask because I quite like it, and I want to have another tailor in hand to play, to just keep tasks flowing so that there's always something on the floor. So I'm going to hit finish turn here and see what I pull. Oh, I've got Frog. That is good news to me. I can go a little safer now. I also pulled Figurine, which is great news. That's just one less clay that's out there. So now he's going to have to play 2 clay tasks, and then have to get them on the floor, and then play another play task to pick them up, and craft. So he's going to need at least 3 clay tasks to do anything. So that just limits how fast he can get one out, and also every one that he has to use, that he has to play, is another one that he's not going to be able to craft. So maybe he'll have to get rid of Jar or Hanuma. So that makes me a little less worried about his clay helpers. And Frog's good because if he plays another monk for some reason, if he crafts something, I can craft. And on my next turn, I will probably tailor again, discard this Figurine, and draw 2 more. We'll see what happens.
One of my predictions was that his last card was probably a Potter. It looks like it was. He played it, and I'm quite glad that I played a Tailor on the last turn. I'm also quite glad that I saved a Mask and didn't return it, because that seems like it'll be a very useful card in this game. So this one's pretty straightforward. I am just going to pray on this turn. I'm going to pick up a Tailor task. If he had the possibility of getting Teapot out, I would be worried, but he played that quite early on, so Hanuma would still be quite good for him. But he doesn't have Vase or Teapot anymore to play. He does still have Jar, but he just drew 5 random cards. He hasn't been hoarding any. So I'm guessing, that he only has 1 or 2 of those, and it's going to take him a while to get that all out. Although, if I don't play anything this turn, don't play any tasks, he's going to be able to Potter with immunity. But I'll still get a prayer out of his Potters after this. So we're starting up again, getting warmed up, and then I'm going to pause. So yeah, essentially I'm going to pray and grab this, and I'm in a pretty decent position. I'm going to have 6 cards, so if he smiths, there's a lot I can do. I just need to draw, if I draw paper, a stone, or a cloth, I've got things I can do on my turn. So really, I don't really want to draw clay or smith, but I wouldn't mind drawing clay that's 1 less clay card that my opponent's not going to have. If I draw, Hanuma, that would make me happy because that's a 9-point swing, or Jar, Hanuma or Jar would be great to draw right now. And I'm just double checking to see if there's any other possible play. There's no point in frogging. I really want to keep a mask so I have something in my hand in case he tailors. And because it's such a powerful card, in this context when we both have stone and cloth in our craft bench. So I'm going to go ahead and finish turn and see what I'm drawing here. Okay, chopsticks. So probably will discard figurine, keep chopsticks, so I might be able to do some cool frog stuff. If I can smith, get a smith that he can't get or something. So we'll see. I'm guessing that he will probably craft this turn, unless he drew. How many cards are left here? So 20. There's 22 cards that I haven't seen. So, or 27. So out of 27, there are 5 left. So if he has a clay, he'll probably do that. If not, I guess he'll try and craft, because he wants to get stuff on the floor so that he can snag it with his clay. I suppose there's not a ton of point to have more material since he doesn't have teapot and he doesn't have clerk helpers. Although I think I got rid of the card. Forget the name of the socks that lets you sell more than one. I believe it is. Robe that lets you sell all your material from a craft bench. So that's not in place. So I'm not super worried about him getting more material. And that's it. So this one's pretty straightforward. I don't think I'm ever really going to play this clay, so I'm going to discard it and pray. I could try to play it and snag this while there's nothing else on the floor, but that just gives him 3 prayers, which isn't great. If I could get mask out, then I might do that. But until then, it doesn't seem worth it to give him 3 extra draws just to get the possibility of back orders here, because once figurine goes on the floor, we're basically in the same situation as before. So I'm going to discard that. And perfect. Okay, so now I can frog no matter what he does. I might play that and snag. I wish I had mask out. So he's crafted cloak. He didn't return it for a metalwork in his hand. I'm trying to figure out if I want to try and smith and jump ahead. I think I'm still going to wait and try and get frog out. So I'm going to discard chopsticks. I'm not going to play a task. With his tailor, I'm going to craft mask, which is very helpful given what a crafting of this game seems to have. And I'm going to pray, and I'm going to hope for maybe a smith, maybe a clerk, I'm not sure. Finish turn. Nice. Okay, let's see if he's going to make his move here. I'm going to predict probably just pray, because he only has 3. Or clay. He may be weighted to get a little more clay out there, to get more use out of a clay card. Which is a little bit worrying, because he has been able to cycle through a fair amount of cards. He knows probably more of the deck than I do, I think. He's got a lot of material that he can turn into sales, potentially. I think I'm still doing pretty well. I think I probably have the advantage still with frog in my hand and the smith helper, but you never know. The cloak is quite good, especially if he has shuriken and he's kind of baiting me here, because he just needs to be able to complete 1 work to get shuriken out now with cloak. So I probably need to try and make a rush and get 3 works out in a turn with frog or something like that. I'm just going to pray, which is unfortunate because striking when he has less cards is what I should probably be doing, but I'm too worried about shuriken right now. Let's see what I get. Bull. Okay, so another clay. That's not bad. Just getting clay out of the deck there. There's 4 left. He needs 3 to be able to get even 1 out. So he prayed. He's got 5 cards in hand. I'm a little worried that if I just keep praying, he's going to, get pin or something out with cloak, or the more likelihood that he'll get Shuriken in hand, or that he'll get more of these 4 clay cards that I don't know where they are. There's only 16 cards in the deck before we get to ones that have been returned. Maybe less if he've returned cards before I did. Home and then pray. I can't do too much because I'm going to get ahead in works, and I can't get more than 1 ahead right now because of Shuriken. Okay, so that is not bad. It really helps with my Smith. There are definitely better ones it could have been, but I'll take it. And I'll end my turn here. Kind of hoping for a cloth, maybe. Oh, it's not bad either. Definitely no task. And then I could take that material. Maybe I'll be able to get plain out later. Maybe just to sell it, get an extra point. Also to clear up the floor so that I can play Frog potentially. Or I can pray twice. I think I will pray twice. Like I could craft, but again, I just don't want to get ahead because of Shuriken. So I want to see more of the deck. Finish turn. Okay. So there are only 2 of these left in 10 cards. He may have them both. Interesting. Hanawa would be pretty devastating for me right now, though. That's 9 points for him, and that's kind of why I made a move. It's like I gotta do something here, but and my move didn't really open him up. It let him get those sales, which is just 2 plus more points, and he had the clay to pick up another. Yeah, I'm worried about coin and Shuriken and pin. If he can get any of those, that would not be fun. What is he gonna do? If he's got 2 clay, he'll just go for it now, which could set me up to do some damage with Frog, because I'm not gonna be able to do anything on his if he plays a clay. I'm glad I prayed twice, because he could have prayed on his turn and taken that dice. That dice would have been there for him. So here, I'm gonna replay here. He prayed. I returned dice, and I prayed. And then, sadly, I was hoping for a monk, but this was one of the monk cards I was hoping not to see. I was hoping he'd be Grafting Tablet or something, because now, with those 2, he's got something like, sorry, stop replay. He's got something like 8 to 14 points. I could end the game now, but I can't get Frog out, or I can't use Frog. I could end the game getting Tower, Pillar, and Lampshade out with my Smith, so that would get me 5 plus my 3 is 8 points. So I'm guessing he doesn't have 14, but the odds of him having one of those cards is pretty solid, and even 1 would be enough to end me. So I don't think I'm going to craft here. I think I really want to get Frog out, and I'll just pick up the Clay Helper that's on the floor, which will help me. That will prevent him from ever being able, well, for a couple turns, being able to get Jar or Hanama out, and then praying. My question is, which card do I get rid of? Having a second helper would be really nice to eliminate all of his possible back orders, but for now I'm going to say no task, and I'm going to take Clay just to eliminate that chance for him. Pray, and I'm going to end turn. Okay, I got Jar. I should have hung on to dice. He can't get Hanama out now. I could actually hang on to Jar, knowing that Brick is coming up, and then I could Smith Jar and take his metal, because I feel like he has Shuriken out there, and that would sort of defang Cloak. So I think I might actually hang on to that, and I'm going to get rid of, I think I'm going to get rid of Pillar here, sadly. And Doll. Okay, Doll's nice. Doll's nice. Trying to think here. I really don't want to play another Clerk and let him get more sales.
That's interesting. Interesting. So he's got way more points than me. Yeah, I feel like felt ahead until suddenly I wasn't, and I never was really ahead in points. I just felt that I had a better position with Frog, but he just never played a stone or a clerk until when he finally did play a stone. It was too late for me to frog him because I had sort of acted not out of desperation, just feeling like I had to do something because I just didn't want him to get Hanama. And that's straw's quite good, especially with the clay helper, but it's not the end of the world here. I think I might get rid of Umbrella. Yeah, I will get rid of Umbrella right now. After he goes, he just went, so I'm wondering what he's planning here. I'm really worried about Pin. That could just be brutal here for me. Because I can get lots of works out, and none of them are worth very many points, and he's got those sails. Kind of wishing I put Straw over to cover that helper. That would be quite nice right now. So I'm gonna get rid of Umbrella here because I have other smithable stuff. It's 1 point, which does make a difference, but I'm not gonna try and end the game right now. So, and then I'm gonna pray. Let's see once we get closer to Brick what I'm gonna do there. He did not have Shuriken that whole time. Oh my goodness. Wow. So I was really kind of assuming he had Shuriken there and playing based off of that so as to not get too ahead, but apparently he didn't. Apparently he did not. And now I forgot about that. I should have kept a dumb Taylor. Let's see. Still, if he crafts, ooh, that doesn't really change anything. Just makes it harder because he'll win ties. But he already had back orders in both of those. Now this is tricky. Now I could actually get Frog out and not suffer any consequences for it. Ooh, ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ouch. I think he's got this in the bag. This is going to be really tough to beat using Amulet. Like that, just really, I'm going to have to really do a lot here. I can get metal back orders at least. But I don't know how much that's going to help. And I do have a chance at jarring him here in a second. I got to figure that out. Brick is worth 5, is at 5, so 4 cards. If he's got a Taylor, he might snag it, which I'll be sad about. But I might get Hannibal here. So I think I'm going to get rid of that. I think I'm going to play this. I think I'm going to... Interesting. I could get rid of Jar, but I feel like that could be very helpful to deprive him of... There's not very many clay cards that he might have, actually, but, pull cards out of his hand for an ending one. I'm going to just pray. Smith, Frog. Put it over there. Take an extra turn. Put this over there. So I get an extra turn. I've got covered that helper. I've got those back orders. He's still crushing me, but I've got a chance here because I can do a very nice a second Taylor here, which could be quite good. 4. So I want to draw 4 cards. So if I draw 3 with the Taylor, I will draw the 4th there. So I might have to discard this bad boy. Draw 3. 1, 2, 3. The top card of the deck here should be Brick that just went in my hand. Yep, Brick is known to be in my waiting area. So I've got 6 cards in hand, which might make him hesitate a little bit to end the game. Not that he can end it in one turn. So coin is just devastating here with 3 back orders. I can counter his Taylor back orders relatively easy here. Let's see. What do I do? Did I know the card after brick? How did I know the card after brick? Let's see. If I go back before he prays, I knew that it was flute, so I know that he has 1 metal in his hand. The only Hanawa card that's only 1, so that's 6, plus assume the other one is stone or clay, so it's 4, so 10. So he's got 23 in hand in all likelihood, which is just devastating. Now, if I smith something, I could smith a jar and kite right now. Let's see if I get rid of this. I could gamble here. If I smith jar and kite, if I play smith, I smith jar and kite, I will have 6 points in hand, so that's 12 points. Oh, sorry. No, I don't get the clay back orders. I could take the 1 metal from him, and then I would have 6 points in hand. Oh no, it goes into waiting area. That doesn't help. Because what I would get there is 5, 11. There's no point in even trying. I guess trying to get those works out and take stuff away from him is what I'm trying to do here. Is he coming up on another brick in a little bit? 2, 3. And this is tough. This is tough here. Play that. That's the least that he's ever gonna have in his hand for a while now. That 3. And I do this, and I do this over here, and I call. So we know he has 1 metal. He could have 2. Actually, let's go back here. Do this. Do this. We'll do this one first, so that I could somehow end it if I choose to. I like to do the. Gives me slightly more options here. And I play jar. So there's 2 of those. There's 2 of those. There's 1 of those. I feel like I'm gonna gamble on this. I don't know if this is the best move. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Flute. Oh, he's got scroll and crane. Interesting. Ooh. I can end it. He has exactly 13 points. If I put this here, I'm really glad I did it in that order. I have 14 points. He has 13. I'm gonna end it. Good game. Good game.